Hello class, welcome back to another session of physics. We have completed 12th chapter in the previous video. Now we are starting 13th chapter, which is called as thermodynamics. Today morning in Google Classroom, I have posted the PDF notes of this. So accordingly, I wish you people to go through that. There you are going to come across the terminologies, the terms or the topics, the headings needed to understand this has been given in a clear form. If you read it, it is understandable. You can easily understand that for sure. I'm sure that you can easily understand the type terminologies what has been given in the notes. Go through that notes, I'll love you. Right? So we'll start this chapter. Thermodynamics. What is dynamics we have learned earlier? If you remember, kinematics and dynamics we have learned. Dynamics, we talk about the motion of a body, movement of the body by the action of force. Even in this case also, we talk about the motion of heat, heat. Or thermodynamics is that branch which deals with the concepts of dynamic temperature, right? Who is that? Lakshman Naik? Somebody answered this. Yeah, Lakshman Naik, that's right, you are right. Right. Thermodynamics is that branch of physics. Definition of thermodynamics. Thermodynamics is that branch of physics which deals with heat and temperature. Heat and the measurement of heat is done in terms of temperature and motion of that heat. What does that motion of that heat? Dynamics is motion of that heat. Means it transfers from one form to the other form. Or different forms, how these are convertible from one form to the other form. Or we have to define like this. Thermodynamics is a branch of physics which deals with heat and temperature and their interconversions from one form to the other form. What is that here? One form to the other form. Mechanical energy can be converted to heat energy. Heat energy can be converted into mechanical energy. Like when you rub your hands, like this, right? During winter seasons or when it is very cool outside, to get warm, what is that we do? We just rub our hands like this. When you are doing like this, what is that we are getting? We are getting heat. We are doing mechanical work and you are converting that mechanical energy into heat energy. This is a basic introduction of thermodynamics. Thermodynamics is a branch of physics which deals with heat and temperature and their interconversions from one form of energy to the other form of energy. That is what we say the introduction of thermodynamics. Is a basic thermodynamics is the branch of physics which deals with heat and temperature and their interconversions from one form to the other form. Now, when we talk about introduction, generally what is that we deal here with? We deal with systems. There would be a system and system is always been placed somewhere called as surroundings. These are the thermodynamic terminologies like system. We deal with systems here. Any system which is heated to high temperatures and left there. We have seen in previous chapter also, water is heated to high temperature and it is left. It is now interacting with the surroundings. When system is interacting, two systems can interact with each other. Ice block and water heated. Two systems can interact with each other, or these two can independently interact with the surroundings. System and the surroundings is an important terminology. What is that you have in terms of interaction? Systems and the surroundings. Yeah, that's right. Electric energy converts into mechanical energy is called as motor. Fine. Electric fan, another example. You will learn about this electricity concepts in the second year, Lakshman Naik. In PUCT, you are going to get that forms. Now, here we talk about heat energies. So, under the important introductory terminology, we have the concept of system and the surroundings. System is that which is having some temperature with that, and how it is changing with respect to, or system always interacts with the surrounding. Two systems can interact with each other, or one system can interact with the surroundings. Now, clearly, these two will be at different, we have seen this already. These two will be at different temperatures. These two will be at different temperatures. Say so that system one is at higher temperature, surroundings is at lower temperatures. If these two interact with each other, what happens? Transfer of energy from one to the other will take place. Some would lose, some would gain. We have already seen all this. For how long these will take place? These will take place till both of them now achieve a condition called as thermal equilibrium. When two systems are interacting with each other, when two systems are interacting, or when a system is interacting with the surroundings, there would be some kind of end point of this interaction. These two are interacting. When these two are interacting, what happens? These can interact only for some time, and they have to stop after some time. At what point they are stopping now? The interaction with these two will stop at that point of what? Thermal equilibrium. Thermal equilibrium is that point at which there is no more transfer of interaction takes place from system to the surroundings and vice versa. Is that definition clear? Thermal equilibrium. Thermal equilibrium. Thermal equilibrium is that point at which systems cannot interact with the surrounding. Two systems cannot interact. If both are systems, then systems cannot interact with each other. Thermal equilibrium is that condition in which a system is no longer in interaction with the surroundings, or vice versa. System can interact with the surroundings only up to certain point, only up to certain limit, and that interaction stops at that condition, where the interaction is stopping, where there is no more interaction with system and surroundings. That condition, that point is called as thermal. As long as, we say like this, as long as these two bodies are not in thermal equilibrium with each other, there is some exchange of heat energy takes place between these two. As long as system and surroundings are not in thermal equilibrium with each other, there would be the transfer of energy, heat energy, from one to the other, system to the surroundings, or vice versa. But how long does this takes place? Till both of them reaches one common temperature, say some temperature called as T. And at that point of common temperature, what is happening? These are no longer associated with each other. These are no longer interacting with each other. That common temperature of these two systems, these two things, is called as thermal equilibrium. Thermal equilibrium, I'm defining it. Listen. Thermal equilibrium in thermodynamics states that condition where there is no more interaction between the systems and the surroundings. Thermal equilibrium is that condition in thermodynamics where system and surroundings are no longer interacting with each other, or the interaction stopped at some common point. That point is called as thermal equilibrium. Now, when we talk about interactions, system and surroundings, these two are now interacting by some. Look at this point. I'll just take some other form like this. I'm just going to take something like this. System is here, and this is surrounded by something called as surroundings. System is enclosed or closed by surroundings. System is here, surroundings. These two are interacting. These are different temperatures. These are interacting. Now this will stop after some time. Now, first and foremost thing is that system to interact with the surroundings, there is some separation between these two things. Yes or no? There is some separation between system and surroundings. If system is a water and this is the air, so water is placed in a beaker. The borders of that system is called as a wall. What it is called as a wall. What is wall now? Wall is the separation between the system and the surroundings. This is the wall. This layer is the wall. This, now if you take a beaker with the water at high temperature, the beaker itself is the wall between system and surroundings. Is this point clear? Wall. What is wall? What is wall? What is wall? Wall is the separation between the system and the surroundings. Now, hope you're all listening, right? You're all getting these points. Can you reply? Because I'm not getting any responses from you. You're all listening to this, right? You're getting this, right? Terminologies. Simple thing only. I'm just putting in some, that's fine. Good. Right. So what is wall now? Wall is the separation between the system and the surroundings. Now, this is an important thing, first of all. Wall is very important. Why wall is very important? Wall can do two things. Whether it can allow or wall do not allow. What is that wall is allowing and what is not allowing? What is the meaning of wall is allowing and wall is not allowing? If wall allows, then only system can interact with surroundings, or both vice versa conditions takes place. If wall is not allowing, then that would not interact with the surroundings. Wall has two important properties. Either it can allow the system to interact with the surroundings, or can you tell me one example where wall is allowing the system to interact with surroundings? The steel beaker, what you take in our houses, steel beaker, which is filled with water, container filled with water. The steel container filled with water can be taken as the wall, which is allowing the system to interact. Because if you take water in a steel container and heat it, and if you leave it, this now interacts with the air surrounding. Means this steel is allowing the system and surroundings to interact. Yes or no? That wall is allowing, system is allowing this one to interact. Now, if you enclose some kind of a thermocol sheet here, let us suppose the wall of this container is being now allowed with some kind of a thermocol sheet like this. Will this thermocol sheet now allow this system to enter surroundings? Thermo flask, we say, thermos flask, where we take hot contents and we leave it, they remain hot for long time. Why they are not losing hotness at that time? Because that system, the thermal flask, is insulated. This is called as insulating wall, conducting wall and insulating wall. Walls can be of two types: conducting wall and insulating wall. What do you mean by conducting wall? Types of walls I have written here. Different kinds of walls. What are different kinds of walls? Walls are of two kinds. Walls are of two kinds. What are they? Conducting walls and insulating wall. What is conducting wall? What is conducting wall? Terminologies. Conducting wall, which allows heat energy to interact with system and surroundings. Conducting, which conducts from one to the other. Insulating, thermocol sheets, which will not allow system to interact with the surroundings. So walls are of two kinds. One is allowing, it is not other one is not allowing. Allowing things are called as conducting walls, not allowing things are called as insulating walls. Accordingly, these not allowing things are called as adiabatic walls. The other name is that adiabatic wall. Insulating walls has got another name called as adiabatic wall. And diathermic, not isothermic. This is diathermic wall, means conducting walls. What are two kinds of walls we have? Hope this writing is clear. You're able to understand. Diathermic, D-I-A-T-H. D-I-A-T-H-E-R-M-I-C. Diathermic wall. Is that clear? First of all, what is wall? Wall is the separation between the system and heat. Lakshman Nayak. Transfer of heat is called conduction, right? So wall is important here. In this case of the interaction between system and surroundings, wall plays an important role. We talk about two kinds of walls. One is called as conducting wall, other is called as insulating wall. Conducting wall is that which allows the system and surroundings to interact with each other. Insulating wall is that which will not allow system to interact with the surroundings. The other name of insulating wall is adiabatic wall. The other name of conducting wall is diathermic wall. Walls are of two kinds. The adiabatic walls are of two kinds. Adiabatic wall, which is non-conducting wall. Diathermic wall, which is conducting wall. Now, every system in thermodynamics has some important properties to be understood. Those are called as macroscopic parameter. Every system which is filled up with some kind of a liquid, has got some there are two kinds of things associated with this, called as microscopic parameters and macroscopic parameters. What is the difference between micro and macro? Micro deals with smaller sizes and macro deals with bulk sizes. Bulk means larger quantities. Microscopic deals with smaller sizes of the system, such as, what is that microscopic properties of the system? Such as number of molecules. Though are very large in number, size of each molecule is very small. That is called as microscopic. internal energy associated with this. Accordingly, the smaller things, the radius of the molecule, very small it is, microscopic, right? Such as micro means which deals with the smaller sizes of the molecules, whereas macro means which talks about larger quantities such as pressure, volume, temperature, all these things, density, mass. Number of molecules is also macroscopic only, because number of molecules per would be large number, large in size. These are the quantities which are bulk in sizes: pressure, volume, temperature. These are called as macroscopic properties. Or this is now from here onwards we say system in thermodynamics as a thermodynamic system. Any system in thermodynamics is regarded as what? Is regarded as thermodynamic system. Thermodynamic system is characterized by two important things. It is going to have macroscopic parameters. It is going to have microscopic parameters. Macroscopic talks about what? Talks about these parameters such as pressure. These are referred as pressure, volume, temperature, density, mass. These are referred as macroscopic parameters. What do we mean macroscopic? Actually, if you divide any system into two halves, these were also divided into two parts. If you divide this system into two equal parts, pressure of this also divides into two equal parts. Mass of this also divides into two equal parts. Temperature of this also, temperature remains constant. I should not include this temperature here. How to identify macroscopic? Macroscopic is that if you divide that system into two equal parts, if the parameter is also dividing into two equal parts, then it is called as macroscopic. What is pressure, volume will be dividing, density would remain same, and mass is that which divides into half. Pressure divides into halves, volume divides into half. But what is remaining constant now? Volume is remaining, that is density is remaining constant, temperature is remaining constant. These are called as microscopic properties. These are called as microscopic properties. Every thermodynamic system is characterized by microscopic and macroscopic parameters. We'll talk more about this in our next chapter. Actually, you can just remember that for some time. Now we'll talk about, before going to zeroth law of thermodynamics, we should talk about some important parameters. Every thermodynamic system is characterized by one important parameter called as internal energy, denoted by U, capital U. Every thermodynamic system is having one important property with it called as internal energy. Means if you have one system with some number of molecules, it is going to have some energy with that. And if you have one more system with some other number of molecules, this energy, internal energy. What is internal energy? Energy possessed by the constituents of that liquid. If I take water in this with some quantity of mass in that, and that mass, because of that, all the mass is confined within the beaker, because all the molecules are closely packed with each other, some amount of energy. The energy associated with each and every molecule, sum of all the energies of all the molecules in a system is called as internal energy. Every system is characterized by this important property. Every thermodynamic system is characterized by, we will not talk how much heat that system have. We will not talk how much work that system is doing. But what is that which is deciding this? What is that which is characterizing this thermodynamic system? The property or the parameter which characterized this system is called as its internal energy. You should understand this concept. We can talk about three kinds of energies. One is called as work done by the system. Other is called as internal energy. Other is called as heat supplied to the system, right? These are the three important things we have in case of thermodynamic system. A thermodynamic system, what is it? First of all, thermodynamic system. A thermodynamic system could be anything in some kind of a mass taken like this. In any beaker, if you take a water, then that becomes the thermodynamic system. If you in any container take something in that, that is called as a thermodynamic system. Now, how are we expressing that thermodynamic system? This thermodynamic system is not expressed by the amount of work done by that, is not expressed by the how much of heat energy is applied to that, or how much of heat energy taken from that. These two are important parameters, but not to describe this. These are not used to describe this system. System can do work, system can extract work or utilize the work applied to that, but system is characterized by what? System is characterized by the important property. This system is characterized by this important property. Depending on the mass what it have, it will have its energy with that. If mass is less, some of the energies of all the molecules to bind like that is small, accordingly its internal energy is going to be small. Energy possessed by the molecules present inside that, internal. What is internal? We get this difference, right? Internal and external. We get this difference, right? Internal and external. Yes or no? Internal means because of those molecules. Why that mass is like that? What is binding them to be like that? That is called as internal. Or every thermodynamic system is characterized by one of the important property called as internal energy. From where this internal energy is arising? This internal energy is arising from the molecules of that system. This system consists of large number of molecules from the molecules of the system. And why those molecules are like that? Why those are bound like that? Why they are not escaping from the container? Why they are not jumping out of the container? Because of some energy to the molecules, some of all that energy is making that one to bind like that. That total energy which is binding all the molecules to be like that is called as internal energy. As long as you don't disturb the internal energy, these molecules will not be disturbed. Now, how can you cause disturbance in this internal energy of the molecules? Hope you are getting the point. How can you disturb the internal energy of the system? Simply by supplying the heat energy. Yes or no? When you supply heat energy to the system, now what happens? If you supply heat energy to the system, the energies between the molecules is going to break, it is going to change. Internal energy is now going to change. And as long as you give that energy, see, this is also energy itself, this is also energy, this is also energy. As long as you give that energy which is lesser than internal energy, what happens? As long as heat energy is supplied, but this is not same as that of the internal energy. It is supplied heat energy is lesser than the internal energy. Then what happens? System would be as this. The moment you put some water on a stove, immediately they won't get heated up. Are they heated up immediately? Initially, supplied energy is utilizing to break down that internal energies. Once that internal energy breaks, then it starts evaporating. Now, once it absorbs that amount of heat, then it starts doing some work. Molecule starts moving from one place to the other place. Molecules start moving from one place to the other place. In order to do that, they should do some work. Yes or no? So, every thermodynamic, what point you should remember is that every thermodynamic system is characterized by various things, but the one which describes its property, that system, is that internal energy. Why the system is like that? Why the molecules of that container are inside that only? It is because of the internal energy of all the molecules of that system. If that internal energy is disturbed, which can be done by supplying heat energy onto that. And when you supply heat energy, as long as the supplied heat energy is lesser than the internal energy, no effect takes place on the system. But if the supplied energy, heat energy, is more than the internal energy, then they start doing some work. By doing this work, they would be moving from one place to the other place. Or these are the various things what you have in terms of a thermodynamic system. Is this point clear? Thermodynamic system is characterized by the important variable called as internal energy. Now, by putting all these things in one form, we define this is zeroth law. We define zeroth law. This is zero, Z-E-R-O, zero. Zeroth law of thermodynamics. Are these terminologies clear? What is work? What is heat? If you know this, then only you can go for that. In thermodynamic things, in thermodynamic system, we talk about three important things. One is change of delta U, change of internal energy. delta Q amount of heat supplied, and delta W the amount of work done by the system. Amount of work done, amount of heat supplied, amount of internal energy, change of internal energy. Are these three things clear or not? Are these three things clear? Internal energy, change of delta indicates change of internal energy, change of heat supplied, change of amount of work done. Clear, very good, Soumya. So by using these three things, we define zeroth law of thermodynamics. Clear, right, Manjula? By using these three things, we talk about zeroth law. What is this law called as? This is called as zeroth law. Why zeroth law? Why can't it be first law? Again, some interesting story behind this. This is now called as zeroth law of thermodynamics. Why zero? Why should it be named as zero? Any idea? Anyone have any idea why it is named as zero? Why can't it be named as first law of thermodynamics? Any idea? Anyone? It is something like this. Just listen. It is something like this. Actually, while scientists are studying about the concepts of thermodynamics, they first put forward some law called as first law of thermodynamics. What is called as? There is some law called as first law of thermodynamics. Whereas first law of, this is first law of thermodynamics, which deals with these things. Sorry, I have just making something. These three things are explained in terms of the first law of thermodynamics. How these are connected will be explained by first law of thermodynamics. And this was invented first. This was invented first, and after first law, second law of thermodynamics is also invented. Scientists were doing some works and they put forward some laws in terms of first and second law. But soon after discovering these two laws, they found that there is one more parameter which is important to describe these things is law. Means these two were invented first. These two are invented first, but after these two, scientists felt that there is some more concept which is important to describe these two. Means though these two are based upon the basic thing what is invented later. These are invented first, and the basic part of these things is invented later after this. Accordingly, they want to express that before this, and accordingly the name is given as zeroth law. Is the point clear? Why it is named as zeroth law? These energies, work, all these things are explained by first law of thermodynamics. After this, one more law of thermodynamics is also introduced called as second law of thermodynamics. Right, Boda Rajesh, you are right. Second law of thermodynamics. But after invention of these two, scientists felt that there is something missing in these two which should be expressed before these two laws. That thing, what is that thing is a thing called as basic thing, which needs to be understood before these two. Accordingly, that thing is expressed in terms of zeroth law. They have to put that before one. Accordingly, what is that comes before one? Before one comes to be zero. Accordingly, that basic part has been now explained in terms of zeroth law of thermodynamics. And what this zeroth law of thermodynamics states that it talks about the walls, because any kind of interaction is possible only with walls, right? We say now we say heat is supplied to some system. System is characterized by internal energy. You are supplying heat, and the supplied heat will make some kind of work. But before doing this kind of things, what should happen? A wall should allow. Before these things happening, wall should allow system and surroundings to interact. Accordingly, these things are connected by first law of thermodynamics. These three things are connected by first law of thermodynamics. But before first law of thermodynamics, what should happen? That wall should allow those things. That wall's concept has been now explained in terms of zeroth law of thermodynamics. Hopefully the point is clear. First law is invented, then second law is invented, but soon after that, scientists realized that these things can be understood by the basic concept of laws. Accordingly, this has to be put in one more law. Since they have to place it before first, they named it in the form of zeroth law. Right? Right, very fine, Rishita. Now, what this zeroth law of thermodynamics says that if two systems, say A and B, if two systems say A and B, remember like this, if two systems say A and B are in thermal equilibrium with each other, sorry, if two systems separated by adiabatic wall, what is this wall? This wall is called as, what will be adiabatic wall? What is adiabatic wall? Insulating wall. These two are not interacting with each other. Temperature of A is not interacting with temperature of B. See this zeroth law. Zeroth law of thermodynamics states that if two systems A and B are separated by adiabatic wall, are in thermal equilibrium with the third system C. If two systems A and B are separately in thermal equilibrium with the third system C, let us say the temperature of this is Tc. What is that? Means these two are interacting and these two are also interacting. A is in thermal equilibrium with C, B is also in thermal equilibrium with C. Then what does it mean? A will be in thermal equilibrium with C because these two are commonly interacting with some body C. This is called as zeroth law of thermodynamics. What it says, if two systems are separated by adiabatic wall and these two in turn are connected to a third system by means of a diathermic wall. What does it mean? A is not interacting with B because of adiabatic wall, but A is interacting with C. Simultaneously, B is also interacting with C. Then what happens? How long these things will interact? Till A comes in thermal equilibrium with C. If A is in thermal equilibrium with C, then B will also be in thermal equilibrium with C. This is the meaning of zeroth law of thermodynamics. I'm repeating, if two systems A and B are separated by adiabatic wall and these two are separately interacting with a third system by means of a diathermic wall, then if A is in thermal equilibrium with C, B is also in thermal equilibrium with C, then it means that A is in thermal equilibrium with B. If, what is that? If TA is equals to TC and TB is equals to TC, then what does it mean? Then TA is equals to TB. This is called as zeroth law of thermodynamics. Is the point clear? How to define zeroth law of thermodynamics? How to define zeroth law of thermodynamics? If two systems are separately in thermal equilibrium with a third system, remember, if two systems are separately in thermal equilibrium with the third system, then it means that both the systems are in thermal equilibrium with each other. If two systems, I'm repeating, if two systems are separately in thermal equilibrium with the third system, if this is thermal equilibrium with C, if this is in thermal equilibrium with C, then it means that these two are in thermal equilibrium with each other. Is the point clear? This is called as what? Zeroth law of thermodynamics. If two, I'm repeating, definition I'm repeating, if two systems are separately in thermal equilibrium with the third system, then both the systems are said to be in thermal equilibrium with each other. This is called as, before going to energies and all, you should understand what is this zeroth law. Is the concept clear? Why it is named as zeroth law and what is the meaning of zeroth law? This is adiabatic wall, this is diathermic wall. These two are not interacting with each other. This is interacting with C, this is interacting with C. How long these two will interact? Till this exists thermal equilibrium. How long this will interact? This is characterized by this interaction also. Accordingly, if two systems are separately in thermal equilibrium with the third system, then if these two are in thermal equilibrium with this system, then it means that these two are in thermal equilibrium with each other. If temperature of under thermal equilibrium, what happens? These two temperatures are same, and these two temperatures are same. If this condition is maintained, then what should happen? These two should have the same temperature. That is called as thermal equilibrium. That is zeroth law of thermodynamics. Is this point clear? Zeroth law clear? Zeroth law, no responses. Means not clear. Girne Nikita says clear. Yeah, it's simple only. Only putting it in some proper form is what we need. If two systems, very good, all of you. Soumya, Rajesh, Shirisha, Ruchika, nice. Soumya, Madhu, Manjula, fine. All of you, so good. That is what Lakshmana, right? What it is simply, if two systems are separately in thermal equilibrium with the third system, then it means that both the systems are thermal equilibrium with each other. As simple as that. Now we'll talk about first law. Can anybody tell me why it is called as zeroth law? Why it is named as zeroth law? Why not it be first law? Deen enduk first law anledu? Because first laws were invented after the invention of first two laws. Long after that, scientists realized that this is needed before that. Accordingly, since it is talking about the walls, which is more important than energy supplied, because if wall allows, then only the interactions will take place. If wall is not allowing, then it is not possible to interact. Accordingly, since it has to be placed before one, they named it in the form of zeroth law. Zeroth law. There is some kind of cases also seen when corona cases came out. First patient was named. First corona patient somewhere in China. But what happened? This news of zero came there also recently for corona. Soon after naming the first patient for corona, somebody realized that there is some more patient who dealt before that. Before that patient, one more patient, another person is also infected, but he invented before than this first patient. First patient was detected today, but soon after some days they realized that some other patient who got infected before the first patient. So accordingly, what is that name to be given to that patient now? He has been termed as zero patient. Is the concept clear? Today I got some naming as first person, and I am the one who is inventing something today. But later somebody claimed that it is not he. I already did that before myself. Accordingly, what happened? That person should be now chosen as what? Zeroth. If one more person before zero, -1. If one more person before him, -2. Is the point clear? Accordingly, that name is given as zeroth law. Hopefully, the point should be clear. Lastly, today's class last topic is first law of thermodynamics. First law of thermodynamics says that heat supplied to a system will be utilized for two purposes. Delta Q given to a system will be utilized for two purposes. First one is to make the change of internal energy, and rest of the energy will be utilized for doing some amount of work done. Heat supplied to a system will do what things? First law of thermodynamics says that heat supplied to a system. You have one system with a beaker and a water. You are supplying heat to that. Now, what this supplied heat will do? Supplied heat is doing two things. What is that? Some part of the heat supplied will be utilized for change of internal energy, and the remaining part, whatever you are supplying, some part is utilized for this, and the remaining part will be utilized for what? For doing the work done by the system. The molecules inside this will start moving from one place to the other place. That is the amount of work done by the system. As simple as this first law. What is first law of thermodynamics says that? Is the point clear? First law of thermodynamics says that heat supplied to a system is utilized for two purposes. Some part of the energy will be utilized for the change of energy of system, and remaining part will be utilized for the amount of work done by the system. Delta Q is always equals to delta U plus delta W. Heat supplied is equals to some change of energies plus amount of work done. Is this concept clear? Important equation this is. Is this first law of thermodynamics clear? First law of thermodynamics states that amount of heat supplied to a system is always equals to the sum of change of internal energies and the net amount of work done by the system. I'll just stop it up here. We'll take the remaining part in the next class. So I gave some introduction to some terminologies, and accordingly, I wish you people to go through the PDFs given to you today, and the things would be very clear in that. Only drawback what we are having right now is like we are not interacting directly to teach these things in more elaborated forms. Now, as this like I have to teach you something, I'm just taking the random in a random way. I'm just putting all the things in some proper forms. Like some, if we are in the live, I mean, if we're in the offline mode, we may talk some more about this, some kind of live examples, whatever it is taking place. But for this aspect, as of now, this is sufficient in this mode of learning. Fine. So just go through the PDF notes given, and you'll also come across some examples wherever you check in the textbook. Just go through, like, just try to understand how much you are gaining or how much you're getting from this. Right? Thanks for joining. See you in the next class. Right? All of you stay safe, stay happy. See you soon in my next class.